Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when reality hits you today. And welcome to What's New with ME, the show where we slow down the news cycle just enough to actually understand what's happening without yelling, without hashtags, and without assuming everyone's watching already picked a side. Today's update is one of those moments where politics, policy, power, and people all collide, and where nuances matter more than the noise. Let's get into it. I'm Ali Mehdaoui, and in segment one, Governor Walz fraud that gets him out of re-election. Let's start in Minnesota. Governor Tim Walz has announced he will not be seeking re-election following mounting scrutiny over large-scale fraud tied to state-run programs, particularly those designed to help vulnerable populations. Now, before anyone jumps into those crazy conclusions, let's just be very precise. This is not about rogue employees or maybe just one. This is not about a paperwork error. This is about systematic oversight failures where millions and even in some cases hundreds of millions of dollars flowed through programs with insufficient guardrails. Now, investigations have revealed that funds intended for childcare, food assistance, and welfare programs were allegedly misused by organized networks exploiting weak controls. So here's the uncomfortable truth. When government programs fail, the very first people to hurt aren't politicians. There are families who actually needed the help intended. The governor maintains that he did not do anything wrong. He did not personally commit fraud. But to date, no criminal charges have been filed against him. But here's the thing. Leadership isn't just about intent. It's about accountability. But this moment raises a bipartisan question that is worth asking out loud. How many well-meaning programs across this country are quietly bleeding money out? Not because of ideology, but because no one wanted to ask the hard questions early. This isn't a red issue or a blue issue. This is a competent issue. I'm pretty sure the governor will end up working in MS Now or CNN immediately right after. Segment 2, childhood vaccine from 17 to 11 and why this isn't as simple as it sounds. So up next, let's talk about kids' medicine and a topic that usually ends Thanksgiving table extremely early. Federal health authorities have revised the childhood immunization schedule, reducing the number of diseases of which routine vaccinations is universally recommended for, from roughly 17 down to 11. Pause, breathe, nobody panic. This does not mean vaccines were banned. It does not mean that science was thrown out. And it certainly does not mean parents are suddenly on their own. I got kids too. What changed is the recommendation structure, meaning several vaccines are now designated for high-risk groups, shared decision-making between doctors and parents, or targeted use rather than blanket scheduling for everyone. Supporters say this brings the U.S. closer to international models and restores parental agency in non-critical cases. Critics worry it could lower vaccination rates and increase outbreaks of preventable diseases. And here's the part that gets lost in shouting matches. Both sides are arguing from a place of protecting children. They just disagree on the how. This is not a war between science and freedom. It's simply a conversation about risk, about trust, about transparency, and about public confidence. And whether you are a parent or maybe a physician or just someone who remembers being terrified of needles as a kid, I'm not talking about myself. The real takeaway is this: when institutions change guides, they must explain why clearly, calmly, and honestly, or trust erodes. And once trust erodes, Well, no policy would work, period. Now to energy and Venezuela. The United States is set to receive between 30 to 50 million barrels of oil from Venezuela following major developments in the country's political leadership and international negotiations. On paper, this looks like a straightforward energy move. Increased supply, market stabilization, reduced reliance on other foreign sources. In reality, this is geopolitics in a hard hat. Venezuela holds some of the largest proven oil reserves on earth, yet its people have endured years of economic collapse, sanctions, and political turmoil. This oil transfer signals a broader realignment, one that affects global oil prices, U.S.-China energy competition, and the future of sanctions as a policy tool. Supporters argue this move benefits American consumers and weakens adversarial leverage. Critics ask whether economic pressure was replaced with transactional diplomacy. But here's the deeper question. How do global powers balance energy security with human rights without pretending one doesn't affect the other? Oil does not move in a vacuum. It moves with consequences, and every barrel carries a story. Segment 4, Greenland strategy, sovereignty, and saying the quiet part out loud. Finally, Greenland. Yes, Greenland. The U.S. administration has openly confirmed it is exploring options to acquire Greenland, framing it as a matter of national security in the Arctic. Let's unpack that. Greenland sits as a strategic crossroad. Arctic shipping lanes, rare earth minerals, military positioning, climate-driven geopolitics shifts. Discussions have ranged from diplomatic agreement to economic partnerships to statement that, let's just say, raised eyebrows internationally, such as military options are also possible. Denmark and Greenland's leaders have been clear. Greenland is not for sale. And here is where tone does matter. Strategic interests are real. Arctic competition is real, but sovereignty is also real. When global powers talk openly about territorial acquisition in the 21st century, it sends shockwaves, not just through allies, but through history itself. This isn't about conquest. This is about how power is discussed in public, and the world is truly listening. So in closing, if there is a common thread today, is this: systems matter, oversight matters, language matters, and leadership, real leadership, means explaining complexity without exploiting fear. And at What's New with ME and ME Studios, we don't tell people what to think. We build platforms where smart conversations live a whole lot longer than a soundbite. ME Studios isn't just a studio. It's a media ecosystem for creators who actually want ownership over their voice, for brands that want credibility, not just clickbait, and for leaders who understand that content is influence. And if you're a podcaster, entrepreneur, or an organization with vision and looking for launching your show, building authority, distributing content across real media channels, or produce professional grade podcasts, reels, interviews, and use commentary, then I invite you to visit themestudios.net. That is themestudios.net, where conversations become content, content becomes impact, and impact becomes legacy. I'm Ali Mehdaoui. This was a new episode of What's New with ME, powered by ME Studios, located right here in Eatontown, New Jersey, as an official vendor of Netflix Studios NJ. We'll see you next time.
Still marketing your business like it's the Yellow Pages era? Welcome to ME Studios, where local solopreneurs and small business owners catch up with the digital world and take over it. We help you go from invisible to undeniable. Featured on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Plus, gain press exposure in over 100 to 300 major media outlets like Fox, ABC, CBS, NBC, and the CW. Right here in Eatontown, New Jersey, just steps away from the soon-to-be Netflix studios, our multi-unit facility is built for creators, entrepreneurs, and visionaries. Stop marketing like it's 1995. Start building your digital authority today with a team that gets it.